Hi folks, welcome to another season of Methanol Madness, brought to us by our new naming rights sponsor, Daltons Landscape Supplies. No AJ back tonight, he's swanning around the globe, currently in Singapore, but he'll be back for the second meeting at the Racecourse Hotel and Motor Lodge Ruapuna Speedway, coming up in December. But joined in the studio by Louise Smith. She's our track announcer and the president of the South Island Quarter Midgets. Welcome, Louise. Hard to believe we're going racing again in just a few weeks.
Yeah, it's come around really quick once again, but there's plenty of fun highlights that we can look forward to this season.
So to get the show started, we thought we might take a look at some of last year's highlights with the help of Elite Re-Roofing, a new sponsor to Methanol Madness. So there you go folks, plenty of highlights from last season, and this year's calendar is expected to be just as good. It's really action-packed, Louise. What are some of the highlights for you?
One that I'm definitely looking forward to is the Access Man New Zealand Midget Championship. It's going to be a massive weekend, I think, and a lot of people are looking forward to it.
Absolutely, and that's on the 3rd and 4th of February, so mark that one off on your calendar. Carnival Fireworks Night always attracts a good crowd, and we've also got the BT for Mates coming to Ruapuna again, so if you like your midget car racing, some good events for you. The War of the Wings sprint cars are coming as well, and also the Daltons Sprint Car Summer Slam.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a couple of rounds of the War of the Wings in December and January, so that'll be good to kind of kick the season off. But then we ended on a high as well with the Methanol Madness Sprint Week, so I think that a lot of people will be looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, if you don't know what that is, it's 3 sprint car meetings over a week or 7 days. And it happens on April the 6th, April the 11th and April the 13th, featuring a $30,000 prize pool for one of the sprint car races. So certainly going to be a great finale to the season, and we're all looking forward to it at the track. Okay folks, time to move on to dirt track news. This is brought to us by CB Caravans and RV Centre. Will and Wendy helping out the show this year. Big lighting upgrade at Ruapuna this year, Louise. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, thanks to Macca and the team at A1 Electricians, there's been a massive upgrade, which I think a lot of people may suggest was well needed, so it's definitely a big improvement, but they look fantastic.
Yeah, for those that haven't been to the track for a while, certainly the lights are a lot brighter. The older lights were really starting to get to the end of their days, and it's certainly a massive improvement. I think the viewer experience will be better, as well as the experience for the drivers. The other thing to happen at the track, which is a big upgrade, is our track curator Chris Gemmett has now put an extra 3 degrees of banking on the track. So if you're a driver, that'll mean you can get faster and harder into the corners and off down the straight a bit quicker, and hopefully we'll start smashing a few more track records at the track. They've certainly been tumbling over the last couple of seasons. Bit of news up north, Luke McClymont, he's sponsored by CB Caravans and the RV Centre. He's stepping into the Seamount Midget, which was piloted by Jack Lowe last year. And we remember Luke McClymont being one of the best V6 wingless sprint drivers coming down here to Christchurch, absolutely dominating the Rumble a couple of years ago. He went pretty well last year, even though he had a few mechanical gremlins, but it'll be great to see if Luke McClymont can adapt to the faster power of the midget car. Okay folks, it's giveaway time, and what you need to do is go to our Facebook page. We've got a competition for winning 2 double passes to opening night, and what you'll do is you'll see a photograph of the New Zealand Sprint Car title with Dave Kerr, got his car all round the wrong way, and all you need to do is put your best caption there, and the best caption will win those 2 double passes. We'll draw that out next week on Methanol Madness, so with a bit of luck, if you can get your words together, you might have a couple of passes for opening night. Well, time to take a short break, and after the break, we'll catch up with the Access Man Midget Car Championship. Welcome to Wellington's largest caravan and RV shop. CB Caravans and RV Centre look after repairs and maintenance, and they are leak specialists. CB Caravans and RV Centre import UK caravans. Need to sell? They can help. CB Caravans and RV Centre, your caravan solution. Catch up with Will and Wendy today. The team at Edge Parts and Performance have got safety covered. They're proud stockists of Simpson safety products, helmets, head and neck restraints, harnesses, racing suits, gloves, shoes and more. Simpson safety products provide an unparalleled level of comfort, performance and protection. Come and check out their new range of Simpson suits, lightweight 2-layer SFI approved suits that offers flexibility and functionality all in one. They've also got the Red Devil carbon fibre lightweight racing helmet in stock. Well, plenty of parts going out of Edge Parts and Performance with just a few weeks before opening night. I'm joined on the line now by Paul Denson. He's the president of the South Island Midget Car Association. Paul, it's a huge week of racing for you guys this year. What are some of the highlights you're looking forward to?
The New Zealand Midget title is going to be massive, along with the BT for Mates and the South Island title, included with our Super Series that we're going to be running.
Yeah, we'll get to that Super Series shortly. There's also a couple of new drivers coming to the Midget Car ranks. Can you tell us about our 3NZ modified driver and what car is he going to be driving?
We've got Jacob Mitchell coming over from Modifieds. He's the current 3NZ. He'll be piloting a Spike Esslinger. Really looking forward to seeing him this year.
Yeah, well, Jacob was really good when he had a couple of cameo performances in a V6 wingless sprint a few years ago with Duff Motorsport, I think it was. And he certainly knows how to pedal hard, being 3NZ in the modifieds. It's quite a big thing to make a big change, isn't it, into a different class. How do you think he might go, mate?
Yeah, I think he'll go really well. He might struggle a little bit at the start with getting used to side bite and no wings. But other than that, I think he'll be really fast.
Okay, other news in the midgets is we get the return of Jack Lowe this season. What's happening with the Jack Lowe team? Are they preparing for a big season? Jack's coming back from Western Springs, a massive season with Seamount Racing. Their car's looking really sharp, and he'll be a red-hot favourite for the title. Yeah, I was speaking to Blair, his dad, and he was saying that this is pretty much the last year for Barry being involved with midget cars. He's been a great supporter of the class for many, many years. In fact, he's been a great supporter of Speedway in general. And that leads me to your City South Van Spears Midget Super Series. Paul, can you tell us what that is and how many race meetings do you have?
Well, it's based on our travelling series that we've historically run. With the New Zealand title being here at Ruapuna this year, we've decided as a group to stay at Ruapuna, and Barry has jumped on and given us some prize money, which is really great.
Well, like I say, he's been a great supporter of all things Speedway, and we can't let you go without finding out what's happening with the Denko, mate. We all love watching that car going around the track. Are you racing this season, and how's it all looking?
Yep, the Denko will be out there this year. It's fresh off a rebuild again, which is nothing unusual. It's pretty special to have out there, along with Scotty Miller's V4, of course, and the XB4 of Tom Lumsden. It's a pretty unique field we've got in Christchurch.
Yeah, as you say, mate, custom-built engines, and certainly the Denko is the oldest of those motors, but it's a real nostalgic sound to see your car, Scotty's V4, as you say, and Tom Lumsden's XP4, which has a nice sound to it as well. Thanks for joining us here today, Paul. We'll see you out at the track, mate, and we can't wait to see that Denko going around.
Yeah, thanks very much, Craig. Cheers.
Okay, time to move on to the Pro Bend preview of the season, and the first class we'll look at is the Quarter Midgets. Louise, you're the president of the Quarter Midgets. How's it all stacking up?
Yeah, it's looking fantastic. We've seen another huge growth in the class, which is exactly what we've been looking for all these years. So we're currently sitting at about 18 for Christchurch, with a few rookies spotted throughout Nelson and Greymouth as well. But it's going to be really cool to see those rookies coming up again. Well,
it's certainly been the starter class for many champions coming through, and certainly some of the big names that are racing in the TQs, midgets and sprint cars now have all started in the Quarter Midgets. I hear we rumour that Craig Cox's daughter Isabella Hendry is racing this year.
Yes, she is. She's registered and ready to go. And we've also got Sean Ashton's daughter Courtney's registered as well, and a few others that are brand new to the sport, which is always cool.
So good. For those that know Isabella, you'll remember she won a heat of the Melrose Motorsport Challenge at Ruapuna, and she beat all the boys, so I can't wait to see her going around in a Quarter Midget. Time to move on to the modified sprints, and not too much information from the modified sprints at the moment. They had a fairly big field last year. Liam Astle, the Clay Cup champion at the moment, he's returning and his car's looking pretty sharp.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I saw it on the track in the weekend and it looks fantastic. So I think it'll be interesting to see if anyone else has upgraded any paint schemes over the winter as well.
Of note, Landon Dawson, the car owner of the niche Sprinter that was driven by Stephen Taylor last year, his boy is stepping into a modified sprint for the first time this year. So not sure of his first name, but 17 years old, and he'll be taking the car out in anger probably on the first practice, I would imagine. So good luck to Landon's son. So the next class we'll look at is the V6 wingless sprints, and that rivalry from last year between Andrew Marker and Kirk Hawkins is no longer. Andrew Marker is helping out with Chris Jemmett in his sprint car, so it looks like Kirk Hawkins will have to find another rival sitting in the V6 wingless class. Sam Johnson might just be the guy for him. Sam's one of the good peddlers of the V6 wingless sprints. Moving on to the TQs, a huge field of TQs as usual, approximately 27 cars registered so far, and your teammate Isabel Clark is having her first go on a TQ this year, Louise.
Yeah, she is. She's stepping up from Quarter Midgets, which is exactly what the class is for. You know, it's great to see those younger kids moving up through the class. So I think that it's really strong again, and I think that the competition will be heavy.
Yeah, that's going to be great for Isabel, and she really started to find her feet last year, winning a feature race and driving as well as she ever did. Notable omissions this year, Kyle Glover and Dylan Forsey both moving up to the sprint cars, so it'll be good to see how those guys go. And of course the TQs have got the BT Race for Mates as well.
Yes, and on top of the Rhinestone, those two are some of the biggest events for the TQ class that they really look forward to, but I think a lot of their focus is going to be on that New Zealand TQ title first, which is coming up early in December.
So time to move on to the midgets. We've already spoken to Paul Denson about some of their highlights. Of course, the Access Man New Zealand Championship is going to be probably the biggest event for them this year, on top of the Midget Super Series and a couple of other races, including the BT Race for Mates. Really looking forward to this Jacob Mitchell racing, Louise. Not sure if you've seen him, but he was very good in a V6 wingless sprint a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, he also had a couple of stints in a TQ, so he's well accustomed to the open wheel class, and I think it'll be really cool to see him move in. And I think, as we've talked about previously, that midget class did need some more numbers, so it's great to see some more people feeding into it.
Excellent, and of course the return of Jack Lowe, one of our favourite midget car sons, returns back from his North Island campaign last year, and we'll get to see him at every meeting that we have at the track. Time to move on to the sprint cars, and plenty of highlights here. Of course, we've got the War of the Wings series coming to Ruapuna several times, and a couple of Americans, Louise.
Yeah, the Americans are definitely going to be our highlight. I think a lot of people are looking forward to the return of Joel Myers Jr. It's really cool to have someone come back consecutive seasons. I think then people just really get to know them a little bit better and can pick him as their favourite driver. But we've also got Brenham Crouch coming too, which is one of his best friends, so I think that'll be really cool to watch as well. Yeah,
it's a great arrangement. Brenham is a good friend of Joel Myers Jr. and through an invitation by Freeman Motorsport, Kevin Freeman's putting up a sprint car for Brenham Crouch. For those that don't know him, he's an absolute superstar, and I'd almost go as far as saying he's probably a bit better than Joel Myers Jr. So that's going to be worth coming to the track many times to see those two Americans, including Jonathan Allard is going to be spending more time down here in Christchurch. He's the Daltons sponsored driver, and we've got three new drivers to the sprint car class: Chris Jemmett, Kyle Glover and Dylan Forsey. That's going to be massive this year, Louise.
It's going to be really big, and I think that it really covers all three bases with the young driver of Dylan Dylan, of course, and you go all the way through the ranks of people that have been driving for many, many years. So I think it'll be really cool to see who can adapt the best.
So joining us on the line is Dylan Forsey. Dylan, welcome to the show, mate. It's going to be a hell of a season for you this year, and you're stepping yourself up into a sprint car. How did that all come about?
It all started back in our unfortunate crash at the New Zealand Tiki title, January this year. We obviously crashed out, and I fractured two of my vertebrae, so we couldn't run the rest of the year. And we sat down the next week and planned what we wanted to do for the following year. And sprint cars was sort of the hot topic, something we've always wanted to do for a long time. So sort of put a plan together, and here we are, really.
Well, it's great to see you stepping into a sprint car. You've had a heck of a career starting off in quarters. You went to TQs, and of course now you're going to sprint cars. We watched Oscar Harcourt make that transition. He did it slightly different to you. He went from quarters to sprint cars, which is absolutely unheard of. But what are you expecting, mate? You've probably driven the car a few times. What were your first impressions?
To be honest, I haven't even driven a sprint car before in my life. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to practice to actually drive the car, drive our own car, and make sure I like it, I guess.
Well, you come from a pretty good pedigreed family. Of course, your dad was a sprint car granddad was a sprint car racer, and your auntie was also a driver. That's Karen Forsey. What would be a good season for you guys? How would you measure a successful year?
We've sort of got a couple of goals in mind. Like, we would ideally like to run in the top 10 towards the end of the season. It's sort of hard, like, we obviously, with not having any prior sprint car experience, to set a goal of where we really want to be for our first year. I guess the good thing is we have age on our side, and we have the next 15 to 20 years to work our way up to be competitive and get to the front. So it's sort of nothing left to rush. We've got a lot to learn, and really looking forward to that process.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's plenty of fans of Dylan Forsey keen to see you getting out in the sprint car, and if you approach it the way you approach the TQs and the quarters, mate, we're pretty sure you're going to be successful. Can we expect to see you out at the first practice?
Yep, we'll definitely be there out on Saturday with the sprint car. So really looking forward to getting behind the wheel. It's been a wee while, obviously out of the seat, so it's good to see all these things come together after all the time we spend in the shed. So it would be really good to see it out on track.
Now, I know you have been travelling up to Nelson a couple of times driving your TQ in practices. What did it feel like getting behind the wheel?
It was actually, so we did the first half a lap of practice before a water hose. We had a problem with that, and the first half a lap was actually really scary. I haven't driven for 9 months after my crash since then, and we had to pull into the infield with that water hose issue, and I was sitting there a little bit nervous, and then we went out for the next one, and it only took a lap, and it was just everything was back to normal. So we've got comfortable really quick, and it's really good that all the confidence is built up back again, and we lack no confidence. Really looking forward to finishing our TQ campaign this year for the New Zealand title, and hopefully we can go up and get a result there.
That's great stuff, Dylan. Hey, look, thanks for joining the show, mate. Good to get your insights. And as I said before, plenty of fans of yours will be very interested to see how you go in the sprint car. That's good for sprint car racing, Louise. Dylan Forsey taking it on again. Yeah,
it's definitely a very healthy class. And of course, with the War of the Wings and the Daltons Summer Slam, I think that they've got a lot of really good competition going on, and it's going to be a fun season for them.
Absolutely. And just a reminder about our Methanol Madness Sprint Car Week happening 3 meetings late in April, and for those that didn't get the message before, the 6th, the 11th and the 13th of April is the Methanol Madness Sprint Car Week. Certainly if you're into your car racing, that's the week to be out at Ruapuna. Well, look, folks, that's the end of the episode. Good to get our preview out of the way. We're all looking forward to getting down to the track on Saturday, and until next time, keep your foot up it.